welcome to day 5 of the ARK Let's Play series on the HGC YouTube channel. So today I'm going to show how to get crystal early game. Easy early crystal. And one of the first things that you'll want to get with that crystal is Spyglass. And you don't need much crystal for it. You'll come out with a surplus. So I'm leaving Sanctuary Island, heading northeast, and we'll actually be entering a cave to get the crystal. And it's actually a really dangerous and difficult cave, but the crystal is right inside of the cave, so you don't have to go in very far to get it, and you should be able just to get in and get out no problem. And I say that this cave is rather difficult because this is the lava cave, and I hate this cave more than any other one. I've lost the most of my high-level cave dinos to the lava pits. And it's just because sometimes I get reckless. I want to do things quick and fast and get out of there. And what happens is I'll forget that the path narrows or it bends, and then I fall into lava and I die like a dumbass. So that's not going to be happening today. We're just going to go in, get the crystal, get out, and we'll have Spyglass. Makes life so much easier being able to identify the level of dinos from a distance. Hey, I need a raptor, but I don't want to get close. Spyglass. Oh, it's only a level 30. I'm just going to leave that one alone or kill it. Yeah, and just probably a couple more videos, I'll be going off that Sanctuary Island a lot more. I know my viewers might be getting a little bit of cabin fever of being stuck on Sanctuary Island, and trust me, I don't like it either. But the way I make decisions is simply to progress as effectively as possible and as quickly as possible, and roaming around the island doesn't really do that. Early game, you're going to make most of your levels by building things. So I pulled my raft right up on the shore there. And I do think that there is a small chance you can run into raptors in this area. I've never had a problem with it. Just something you might want to look out for if you're going to come here. Don't assume that it's going to be safe. Yeah, and when you come here, try to come here with plenty of room in your inventory, because crystal weighs a lot, and you're going to want to try to get all the crystal that you can in one run. As a guy, I could make the analogy of when you get the groceries out of the car, you don't want to make 2 trips. You want to put all the plastic bags all the way up your arm, and it weighs 500 pounds, but it's better than running back out to the car to make a second trip. Yeah, you can see the weight go up in the lower right-hand corner. And I'll actually dump the stone if I have to, sacrifice the stone to get out of here with the crystal. A couple main uses of the crystal, other than Spyglass, is you're going to need it to build your greenhouse walls and your greenhouse ceilings, so you can have a farm that produces crops at a much higher rate and a much higher fruition. What else do you need crystal for? You need crystal for the S+ structures. You can build glass-looking walls and ceilings. They're not greenhouse walls or greenhouse ceilings. They're kind of like modern-looking. Looks really nice. And you need it for a bunch of other stuff. I'm kind of having a hard time coming with it off the top of my head with a camera glaring at me. But yeah, throughout your time in the ARK, you're going to end up having to get a lot of crystal. And over time, I'll show you where to get more. A lot of the mountaintops will have crystal on them. So you're going to want to get your Argentavises or your Quetzal and go mountain hopping, grabbing your crystal along the way. And you may have noticed in the last video I was wearing the same shirt. It's not because I'm a gross slob who's been wearing it for 3 days. I'm actually doing this video back to back with the last video. So I'm not going to be vain and just switch shirts just for the sake of it. Yeah, you know, I forget that there's a third-person mode. I've always been a first-person guy, but it's probably more fun to look at the game through the third-person perspective, so I'll try to get better at doing the third-person mode. So, back to Sanctuary Prison. It's not really a prison. I'll be getting a Pteranodon in the next day or two, and then I can leave at will. No problem. So I could hug the shoreline here and then make that direct cut back to Sanctuary Island. But just for time efficiency purposes, I'm going to risk it and just go straight across this deep end here. Risk it for the biscuit. I've actually been attacked by lead Sichthies in this stretch of deep water here before. And it managed to actually destroy my raft. It was a lower level one, and it did a bit of damage, but I was able to race it to the shallows quickly enough where it couldn't destroy my whole raft. That Brontosaur is going to get eaten alive. Megalodon City. Which is good. I think Brontosaurs are kind of a nuisance on Sanctuary Island. At least for the first bit of time. Once I get a killing machine over here, it will be actually really nice because those Brontosaurs are a wealth of prime meat. So here I'm using the Spyglass. Now I can see what level Pteranodons are just by standing there and looking at them, which is really awesome. There are different mods that have different types of Spyglasses. I think one of them is called the Ultimate Spyglass. There's the, I think the S Plus version of the Spyglass. Some of the Spyglasses will show you the, how do I say it? When you're tranking a dinosaur, when you're tranking a wild dinosaur and you're shooting them with trank arrows, and you don't know how close they are to being knocked out, there's a Spyglass that will actually show you how close they are to being knocked out. So that's pretty nice, and I'll be making one once I can, or once it's worth it to do so. And a good rule of thumb is if you don't have that Spyglass that shows you the trank level, is shoot a trank dart at it, wait 3 to 5 seconds, shoot another trank dart at the wild dino, wait 3 to 5 seconds, because it actually, when you hit the dino with a trank dart or a trank arrow, it takes about 5 seconds for the full effect of that trank to happen. So, you know, if you're trying to tame a saber-tooth and you just keep on nailing it with trank arrows, you'll probably end up killing it. So you really got to be careful when you're trying to knock out those dinos that have not as much health. You know, so do the shot, wait 3 to 5 seconds, do another shot. Just my 2 cents on that. Check something here real quick. Okay. For a second there, I couldn't remember if I hit record or not. I would have been pretty bummed out to do this hour-long video to find out that I wasn't even recording. I haven't done that yet, but I've had it where OBS was glitched out and I was just recording a black screen. So that was a disappointing hour, especially because I was really happy with the finished product. So one of the things I'll be doing in this video is taking all my stuff off the boat and putting it inside of the house. I'm also going to be outfitting the house with the larger storage containers and preserving bins and stuff like that. And if I can get around to it, I'm going to start building the farm up on the roof. And that's going to take a little bit because those medium crop plots actually take quite a bit of resources, quite a bit of rock to build each one. Kind of amazing. This whole time I've just been living out of those two small storage crates. I haven't really needed a big one yet. But with the advent of the metal tools and soon the advent of the ankylosaur and the other dinos I'll be getting, like the stegosaur, I'm going to need more storage. Yeah, so I just whistled for my trike to follow me. I just looked right at the trike and hit the letter T. Follow me. Level 20, disappointing. It's fun trying to knock them out of the air with the bolas. It's possible, I just suck at it. I always feel like when I let go, that's going to be an awesome shot, and it will look like it's an awesome shot, and then it will just miss, like right at the last second. So, I got some work to do on that. Some perfecting of my aim. So, down in my toolbar, I've got the large storage box and the preserving bin. So it looks like I'm working on both of those right now, now that I have a roof over my head. People have given me crap before about how I say rough. Is it roof or is it rough? I say roof. Roof. The roof over my head. Maybe it's my Wisconsin accent. I don't know. See that ammo box looking thing right there, that metal thing? That's, if you get close to that, it will open up and it will come out with one of those dinosaur dossiers that you can read. And it will also give you 300 seconds or something like that of an EXP boost. So I'm trying to be careful not to get it until I actually plan on using it to the best of my ability. So when I unlock that box, I want to have something lined up where I'm going to be getting EXP. Be it building a bunch of stuff or going on a killing spree. One of the best things you can do is if you run into one of those, like out somewhere else on the map, and you're on your Pteranodon or something, and you run into it and it's like, oh shit, I just unlocked this box and I don't want to waste it. I really want to get my EXP's worth out of it. Look for alphas and go and use your C command and go around and kill some alphas. That will really help you and your Pteranodon level up very fast. You want to be careful though. I mean, you don't want to use your Pteranodon against a Gigantosaur or an Alpha Allosaur. I think Allosaurs can actually rip you off of your flyer, so you know, be sure you can identify what's an allosaur, and then not go after that. Yeah, I'm still having to get fiber by hand. Since day one, I've been bitching about that. Because I knew that 5 hours into the game, I'd still be having to get fiber by hand. I should be getting really close to the metal sickle, though. So, I'll be happy then. Oh, and you know what? Today I got my first subscriber. I don't know if he or she wants a shout out, but I think you know who you are. Thank you very much. That was very exciting for me to see, so kind of helps me feel like I'm doing something right. So, thank you. And again, I promise, it might seem like things right now are kind of slow, maybe kind of boring, but it will it's going to pick up. And it's going to be, I think, a lot more entertaining. It's inevitable. I don't even have to go out of my way for that to happen. That's just the nature of Ark Survival Evolved. One of the things I'm going to try to do is solo tame a Quetzal. And to do that, I'm not sure if I can actually do it or not, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to have my Argentavis, and I'm going to hop off of it so it's still kind of flapping its wings, hovering above the ground. And then I'm going to shoot it with a hook shot and hook onto it, and then I'm going to whistle command it. So it will hopefully drag me where I want it to go, and I can whistle behind a Quetzal and keep catching up to the Quetzal. And actually, I'm not going to be doing that. I'm going to be doing that because I'll have a long neck rifle at that point with trank darts instead of trank arrows. And that will be a big deal. Anyone who's caught the Quetzal, even if it wasn't solo, even if you did it with your friend, you know catching a Quetzal is kind of a gamble. It's kind of a pain because you can spend all these trank darts and you'll knock it out of the sky and it will land in water and drown. So all the effort and all the time and all the trank darts that you made, just a waste. Or you can knock it out of the sky and it will fall down and land near a bunch of predators and get a shitload of damage done to it. And now the taming effectiveness is basically 0. So now do you continue with tame or do you take it as it is? Extremely damaged. Yeah, it'll be nice to have the base fully functional and ready to go. That way I don't have to mess with all this stuff anymore. Then I can focus on that raft I've been talking about. And I'll probably spend more time on that raft, than I do in my base. There's so much work you can do with that floating mobile fortress. One of the things I haven't mentioned about that with the raft, I've talked about using it to pull up along the shoreline when you see a dino along the shoreline and kiting it into your taming raft, knocking it out, and then you can sail it back to your base or whatever. But what you can also do is you can, if you have an Argentavis, go and pick up a smaller dino. Like if you need a Casteroids, you can pull your ship up close, go down, pick up the Casteroids, fly over your taming pen, and drop the Casteroids or Beaver, whatever you want to call it, down into your taming pen. So it's a mobile taming pen in multiple ways. It's very nice, and another really cool aspect of the game. One note about that, though, is you need to make sure that in your options, before you hit start game, look at your options. I'm not sure if it's in either general or advanced, but there's a box for PvE fly or carry, I think it's called. And just make sure that you click that. Otherwise, the game won't let you pick up those smaller creatures with your flyer. The Pteranodon can actually, it's a small bird, but you can actually pick up some things with it. You can pick up dodos with it, obviously. You can pick up the, oh my goodness, what are they called? The things that spit poison. The lower level things on the southern part of the island. You can also pick up people with the Pteranodon, but if you're playing solo, I mean, you're not going to be picking up other players with it. And then once you get the Argentavis, you can pick up things like the Casteroids, you know, the Beaver, you can pick up the Velociraptor, and you can pick up a bunch of stuff. And then you get up to the Quetzal, and you can pick up things as big as the Stegosaurus. So that's really freaking cool once you can do that. Oh, another foreshadowing thing that I'll be doing, it's going to be a few days from now, probably quite a few actually, and this relates to farming, and I think it's kind of on topic because I'm going to be starting to do the crop plots today. The dung beetles, where to get them and how to get them, and how to tame them. Because there's two different ways you can tame dinosaurs in Ark. And one of the ways is the ways that, you know, we've been talking about this whole time. It's the way I got the trike. You knock them out, you trank them down, and then once they're knocked out, you wait until they're hungry and then you feed them. The other way is passive feeding, and that's when you sneak up behind a creature, and in this case, let's use the dung beetle as an example. You sneak up behind the dung beetle, and then you make sure that it eats feces. It's the dung beetle, so it eats dung. Make sure that's in your zero, in your toolbar, in the 0 slot. And then when you go to feed the dung beetle, you sneak up behind it and you hit E, and it will take the piece of shit out of your toolbar and it will eat it. And you can see its taming bar go up. So, and I get my dung beetles out of the southern central cave. And I'll show you all where that is when that time comes. There's no major dino that I can think of that you need to that requires passive feeding. I don't get many dinos that require passive feeding, other than the dung beetle. The dolphin is another one that you need to passive feed. And those are a pain in the ass because you'll feed them and then they'll run off and you can't catch them. Or you'll feed them and then they'll beach themselves and kill themselves. So I don't go for dolphins anymore. I go, as far as marine dinos go, I'll go for the Megalodon first. And then I'll go for the, possibly the Basilosaurus, which is that big marine creature with all the stingrays that swim around it. And there's surprisingly a lot of materials in the water, even around Sanctuary Island. If you get the scuba, once you get the scuba gear, which is a much higher level than where I'm at now, you need the fabricator to even make it. We haven't even touched base on the fabricator yet, just because it's kind of far out. But if you swim down, or if you take a marine creature down to the depths around Sanctuary Island, you can find an abundance of silica pearls. and silica pearls are an extreme necessity for the higher quality stuff in the game. And you can find oil down there. I recommend going up north and getting oil from the oil nodes that are above ground on the glaciers and stuff. And I'll probably take my raft, my mobile base up there at some point. I need to come up with a name for that. Let's call it 006, like Alec Trevelyan from GoldenEye. So 006, whenever I say that, I'm talking about my base / taming raft. 006. So I'm going to bring 006 up north to the northwest, and up there's a bunch up into the winter biome once I get fur armor so I can stay warm and not die. And get oil from up there to bring back down to Sanctuary Island. Because you need a lot of oil to play the game effectively once you get to that stage. You need it to run the generators for power. You need it to turn prime jerky, or prime meat into prime jerky. You just need it for a bunch of stuff, so... And we'll get around to that too. Man, isn't that nice? 30 metal. 40 metal. So I don't know if you remember, but remember when I had the stone pickaxe? I would do a node like this and I'd come out with like 30 rocks and 6 metal. So, just goes to show that huge improvement between the stone tools and the metal tools. And that's why I like to rush getting that refining forge and smithy and metal tools. Here I'm taking a big drop, watch the health me up right. So, I don't know, that was about 25% of the trike's health. And that was a far drop. I think that was probably the biggest drop on Sanctuary Island. If you were to try to do that and you weren't on the dino, you'd probably die. Unless you've just been pumping all of your skill points into health. And if that were the case, I think you'd have a lot of other problems. I highly advise not dumping all your points into health, but play the game the way you want. You'll always hear me say that. There's no one way to play Ark. There's that 240 male Pteranodon. Level 190 female. That's what I'm going to go for. Unless I find an even higher level one. My base is so ugly. The base I build after this one, up north, will be a lot prettier. Because it's going to be metal, and it's going to take a lot of resources, and it'll probably be the base that I run with throughout the rest of the game. So it's like, well, if it's going to be the base that I use for the rest of the game, I might as well make it pretty to look at. A home in Ark is kind of like, oh, well, I don't want it to sound super cheesy, but, you know, in real life, when your room is clean and everything is organized and you feel good being in there, or in your living room or something like that, I get the same feeling in Ark, where I just feel so much relief when I come back and everything's organized. I know where everything is, and everything looks nice. But you know, with this base, at least for me, I'm not so worried about the looks. It's just about the functionality. I'm using this as a stepping stone to get to that next point. And between this and that huge metal awesome base that I'm going to be ending up building is that raft. And that raft is so key for so many things, and that's why I bring it up all the time. I mean, you could sit down with some graph paper and just go at it. Just use your creativity and figure out, okay, I need to make my raft 20 by 15, and I'm going to use the top part for 2 different taming pens, and then, you know, some people have fun with that. I love that. I love doing that kind of stuff. Design and creativity with functionality and efficiency at its core. Creating fur armor shouldn't be too big of a deal. I know that where to find some dams that aren't too far away, and to loot what's in those beaver dams. The best way to do it is to kill the casteroids so that they don't attack you while you're going through their dam. So one thing that I do is I'll actually go to the dam, open it up, and then exit right out of it. So that way the casteroids come at me, and then I'll swim ashore, get on my pteranodon, and kill the beavers. And then I'll hop off my pteranodon and use my metal hatchet to get as much fur off of that beaver as I can. Because fur is what you need to build fur armor. And you need quite a bit of it to build a full set of fur armor. And you don't want to travel up north without fur armor, so... And dams are going to be key for you to acquire cementing paste. And we haven't talked about cementing paste yet. This is the first time I'm bringing it up. People will tell you different things about the best way to get cementing paste. And if you look it up on Google or YouTube, what you're going to find is a lot of people saying to get the Beezalo buff, or whatever it's called. It's the big frogs that you find in the swamp. And then you go into the swamp with it, and you kill something, and the dragonflies come at it, and you use your tongue to collect chitin and kill the dragonflies. I don't find that to be all that effective. I think it's much more effective to go to understand where the dams are on the map and go and check those spots for the dams and loot those dams, because sometimes in those dams you'll find 5 stacks of cementing paste. But really, the very best way to get it is to get some OP, overpower saber-tooths or raptors or whatever you want. And there's a dungeon it's like a poisonous dungeon. And when you go in there, I think you need to wear like a scuba mask so you don't die. But there's a ton of insects in there that you can kill, and you'll get the most chitin you've ever seen. Or not chitin, but cementing paste. Doing it that way. But the dams are probably my favorite way to go, sustainably. And the cementing paste isn't the only thing you can get out of those dams. You can also get silica pearls, rare flowers. So, and then you also get the benefit of killing the casteroid and get the fur off of them. Yeah, and if any of you viewers have any requests of different things that I can talk about, just post them in the comments section. The next video I make, I'll address it. You know, if it's a pertinent question, obviously. I mean, if it's about my middle name or something, then I don't know if I'll answer that for security reasons, but yeah, any art question or any suggestion of different things I can talk about. You know, anything that you're uncertain about or something that you can't find on Google or YouTube that's not really out there yet. Yeah, just put it in the comment section below and I'll address it next video I make. Because I'm learning too. I mean, I do not submit that I know everything about this game. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Just because there's so much stuff. I think I know most of everything, but not all. But, you know, I'm always willing to learn, and I'd like to learn with you. I've done PvP in Ark before, but I haven't done it much. So if your question's about PvP, you know, setting up servers, I've done that where I've gotten third-party servers. What was it? Craft and Survive, I think was the name of the server I was using. And they do a nice job. So if you're looking at renting a server, I'd like to suggest maybe using Craft and Survive. Their support staff is pretty responsive, and their server's really easy to use. So right now I'm really looking out for a decent level Ankylosaur and the Stegosaurus and the Phiomia. So that way, coming up here pretty quick, it's gonna be in the next couple days, I'm gonna tame those. And since I have a Triceratops, it won't be any problem making the amount of trank arrows I'm gonna need. Or narcotics to keep them under, or getting the stimberries and the zool berries for appetizers. The Triceratops will take care of all that. There she is. I'm thinking about if I should kill her or not. I'm gonna let her go for now. That might be the one I got. Kind of a cool coloration to it too. I'm not so much about the aesthetics of things. It could be a level 300, and if it were mutated and disfigured, I would still choose it, because in real life, it's, you know, just like in real life, it's not about the looks, it's about the merit. Oh, I'm going for the meat spoiler, which means that I am interested in mass-producing narcotics, just like in real life. No. I'm trying to think back to try and figure out why I like this game so much, and reflecting on it, I would say, you know, it started with Minecraft. God, how long ago was that now? That was a long time ago that came out, and I started playing that when it was even in beta. And when I first saw it, I wasn't impressed. Like, my friend was playing it in the barracks. I was in the Navy, and we were in the barracks. We weren't getting BAH yet, but so he was showing me it, and I wasn't impressed. I was like, man, this game looks like shit. You know, it's just the blocks, and it doesn't look all that great. And I trusted his opinion. You know, he was a good friend of mine, and we had a lot of the same interests, so I picked it up, and he and I started a file. Again, this is Blaze. I brought him up before, I think day 1 or 2. Blazarus, he's doing the Twitch on weekends right now. He's gonna get more. He's gonna start doing more and more Twitch as time goes on, but right now he's just doing it on the weekends off of his PS4. He's doing Monster Hunter. But he and I started playing Minecraft, and that was the first crafting game I really got into. And then I went to 7 Days to Die, and now I'm here on Ark. I couldn't imagine going back to Minecraft after playing this. Because Minecraft kind of has the same problem as 7 Days to Die, or at least in my mind, where, except even more so, like, Minecraft, you can build the best base in the world, and who gives a shit? Because it's not like it's really going to get under attack or anything. In 7 Days to Die, at least you got the seventh night hordes that come at you to put your defenses and stuff to the test. If I were to play Minecraft again, it'd probably be out of nostalgia. It does have its things that are unique and fun, but I mean, Ark is like Minecraft on steroids. There's just so much more to do, and there's like really an actual purpose. I know in Minecraft you have that dragon thing and stuff that you can kill at the end, but that's not enough. That's not enough. What might be kind of fun to do too is, after I'm done with this Let's Play series, if I have a decent amount of subscribers or followers or whatever, it might be fun to start a server with some of you guys or gals. I'll buy the server, I'll pay for it, and we can just have a blast. We can take turns maturing baby dinos into adults. Because that could take a long time, and that's a lot easier to do when you have multiple people who are willing to participate in the same game. An actual tribe. I'd even be open to doing some PvP, to be honest. One thing that I thought would be kind of cool to do is start off a game with like 10 people, right? And split into 2 teams of 5. So one team of 5 splits off from the other team of 5, and they don't have any contact with each other, but they're responsible for their own tribes. And eventually, you know, they'll run into each other and, you know, decide on a good time to actually attack each other. It'd be messed up to do it out of nowhere. I think that there should be an agreement of when a war should be initiated and canceled. So I got 7 medium crop plots. Since there are 4 different types of vegetables, I think it'd be nice to be able to do 12 crop plots. So I could have 3 of each plant. I don't know if that's actually what I end up doing, but at least 2 of every vegetable, I would say, at least would be a good start. So that'd be a total of 8 crop plots. That's how smart I am. 4 times 2, huh? I'm a math magician. So, once I get the crop plots up, if you know, I don't know if you know how to farm or not, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. So, if you're first starting to play this game, what you might think is all you need to do is set up the crop plots, put a seed in it, and that's it. It will grow, you'll be fine. But you still need to do irrigation, and you still need to figure out a way to fertilize that plant and keep that plant fertilized. So once I get the crop plots set up, my next step is to actually irrigate those crop plots by setting up pipes from a water source to what are they called? Taps, water taps that sprinkle water out onto the actual crop plots themselves. And there's multiple ways you can do it, but you'll see how I like to do it. And then if you're setting up a base that isn't close to a water source, there's actual water reservoirs that will collect rainwater, which I think is super cool. It'll collect rainwater and then disperse it to your plants from there, and that water reservoir will deplete until it rains and it will fill back up. So the more water reservoirs you have, the less you have to worry about keeping your plants watered. And then as far as fertilizer goes, we've talked a little bit about that already. That Phiomia, that pig-looking thing, you just put a bunch of stem berries in them and hold E on the stem berries, and you force feed them a shitload of stem berries, and they'll poop out a bunch of poop, and you can just put those straight into the crop plot, or you could put them into the compost bin with thatch and create fertilizer. And fertilizer is the best thing you can use to fertilize your crops. And that's only until I can get the dung beetle. The dung beetle requires a lot less work to create fertilizer. All you have to do to create fertilizer with a dung beetle is put poop inside of the dung beetle's inventory, and it will slowly create fertilizer and oil, I think. So, and really you only need 2 or 3 dung beetles to adequately fertilize a pretty big garden, a pretty big farm, because they just spit out fertilizer so quickly. And with the dung beetle, the only thing that you really probably want to increase as it gains level is its weight, because the more weight it can carry, the more poop you can put in its inventory. So when you first tame a dung beetle, you can probably only put 3 or 4 feces inside of its inventory, but as you put points into its weight, you can put up to 10, 15 feces inside of its inventory, and then you can just set it and forget it. When you come back, it's going to have a bunch of fertilizer ready for you. Again, I'm kind of jumping the gun a little bit. That's a little ways away. I just figure the more I talk about stuff like that, even if it's foreshadowing, it's kind of just a seed of information that if you didn't know, it's kind of planted in your head now. So when we get to that point, you'll kind of remember that, oh yeah, I remember he talked about this, and now it all makes sense. So I'm building ramps because if you look at my base, there's a pretty steep ledge from the ground to the top of the foundation. So I'm just getting those ramps to make it a nice ramp up to the doorways. It's partly aesthetic, but I don't know. It's not a big deal. You don't have to do it. It's just something that I like to do personally. Makes it look a little bit nicer. Man, it'll be nice to get an ankylosaur. Flint is kind of an issue in the beginning. I mean, you can get a fair amount, but once you get the ankylosaur, you get a shit ton. And if you put your ankylosaur on a raft and go to Boulder Island, or Rock Island, whatever you want to call it, which you can see actually way in the back on the left, you can sail just, pretty much straight there from here. You can just go from boulder to boulder, and you'll leave with, 20, 30 stacks of flint and a bunch of rocks. And if I'm not mistaken, the Ankylosaur actually calculates the flint and rocks in its inventory at a reduced value, so you can actually carry a lot more than you would with another dinosaur. Yeah, so I'm putting up the ramps, I'm going up to it, holding E, and then switching it to stairs. I just think stairs look a little bit nicer. Yeah, and you can have your torch out while you're doing construction stuff. Yeah, one thing that's lame is that I don't think you could actually put a third ramp. I think you can only do 2 ramps down from a spot. So if I were to try to put a third ramp there, it wouldn't let me. I'd have to build foundations and a wall, I think. So now I'm placing the crop plots. Yeah, so I just realized that the way that I'm going to set up the irrigation, it would make more sense to arrange the crop plots in a different shape. And you'll see why on day 6. Day 6, it will all make sense. Yeah, so I will fix that ramp situation. I think that looks ridiculous. Yeah, so it works for now, but I'm gonna do something else to get up on the roof. I'll probably unlock the rope ladder or something. Oh, I don't think I've talked about this. We've talked about how when you're on a dinosaur, or whenever, when you're in your inventory, if you want to drop something, just put your cursor over it and hit O. That's the quickest way. Just put your cursor over something, hit O. But if you want to transfer it quickly, you hit T. So if I'm trying to transfer a bunch of items from my inventory, but not all of my items, into another dinosaur, into a storage box, I'll just use the T key. T stands for transfer, I guess. If you were to do it manually, where you click on the item and then drag it over and let go over in the other inventory, it could take you a long time. So remember, use T. It'll save you a lot of time. T into O. O to drop, T to transfer. I should probably start naming, well, not start, I've only got one dino. When I first played this game, I always made sure to name all of my dinos. That way it's a little bit more personable. If I had a female trike, I would name her Sarah, because of Land Before Time. And if it were a male trike, I would name him Barry. So, get off my case, I know it's stupid. Probably my favorite name was for the Therizinosaur. I named him Dr. Digits, because if you know what the Therizinosaur is, it has these super long fingers, and it's super gross, and when you go to collect a ton of fiber with it, it like does this. So I named him Dr. Digits, and I'd chase Blaze around with it, and it would gross him out and scare him. As it should, because it's pretty fucking disgusting. Dr. Digits. And then for the Argentavis, I I always kind of tend to name them after clouds, like Stratus or Nimbus. And then when I get to the Quetzal, I'll name him or her something like Gale Force Winds. Sometimes I go after funnier names. Okay, so I just unlocked the compost bin, so I can start creating fertilizer. So I'm starting to commit to the farm a little bit. Yeah, sometimes I'll go after funny names. Sometimes I'll go after names that I think kind of fit what the dino's job is. Looks kind of cool. You can see all the beacons way off in the distance. Level 29. I'm only one level away from getting my goddamn metal sickle. There it is. Yeah. Oh, that's gonna be a weight off my shoulders. Yeah, so what would be nice is if my walls were 3 high and the ceiling was on that 3rd wall high. I would be able to get my trike in here. So as you can see, that storage box has 90 inventory slots, which is a ton. I think the vanilla gives you maybe like 30 to 50 inventory slots. So S plus pulls through again. I mean, all it does is make it so you need less storage boxes. Again, I don't think that's cheating. I just think it streamlines the gameplay. So now I'm making spark powder. And again, spark powder is a type of fuel. Kind of like a gasoline for the preserving bin or the fire. You can use it in the campfires. Or if you're playing vanilla, you actually need to fuel your torches. Since I'm using the S Plus torches, I think I'm using, they don't require fuel, they just automatically work. Just one less thing to micromanage. You can focus on more important things. I do like to use wood when I can for the charcoal. There's going to come a time where it's going to be like, wow, I wish I had more charcoal. And since I'm nipping it in the bud. Oh, done. See you on day 6. We'll talk about it tomorrow.